Ex-wife asked for open marriage, but instantly regretted it. Hey, true story. My name is Kevin, and I just recently stumbled across your channel. I'm honestly glad I did. I had been going through it emotionally, and YouTube relationship stories were one of the few things helping me get through some long, quiet nights. That's how I found your content, and man, I've been binging ever since. I finally decided to send in my own story. Hope you read it. Let me get right into it. About a year ago, I was living what I thought was a simple, stable, married life. My wife and I had been together for 7 years, married for 4. We lived in a mid-sized town in Ohio, had decent jobs, and a comfortable little apartment. I work in IT. She was a dental hygienist. Nothing too flashy, no kids yet. We had talked about it a few times, but never made the leap. I figured that was a decision we'd make when things calmed down a bit. But here's the thing. They never do calm down. Not when your wife has other plans. We'd been a little distant for a few months. I chalked it up to the usual marital ups and downs. You get comfortable. You stop going on dates. You gain a little weight. You stop trying as hard. I won't pretend I was the perfect husband. I've always been a little on the nerdy side. I'm into board games. I stream Twitch occasionally. I'm in a fantasy football league I take way too seriously. And yes, I've always been a little chubby. But I was loyal, loving, supportive. I showed up for her, and apparently that wasn't enough. One night, she came home and sat me down with that serious look that no man wants to see. I thought maybe someone in her family died, but no. She smiled awkwardly and said, "I've been thinking, what if we opened up the marriage?" At first I thought she was joking. I let out a nervous laugh and said, "What? Like, you mean watch other people do stuff? Like one of those voyeur things?" She shook her head and said, "No, I mean like explore other people. I think it would help us grow." I was stunned, absolutely floored, not angry, not sad, just stunned. All I could say was, "So, you want to sleep with other people?" She replied, "It's not about sex, Kevin. It's about growth, experience. We're still so young. Don't you want to know what else is out there before we settle for good?" Nah, I was good. I had already settled. She was it. Right then and there, I knew we were done. But I didn't say anything right away. I just nodded slowly and said, "Let me think about it." But inside, I was burning. Not even with heartbreak. I was angry, and not at her for asking. No, it was what I found next that truly lit the fire. That night, while she was asleep on the couch, I noticed her phone buzzing nonstop. She was in a group chat with her 3 best friends. I wasn't going to look. I really wasn't. But curiosity killed the cat. And trust me, this cat died a million deaths. I read something that'll probably stick with me forever. "She wants an open marriage," one friend texted. "But Kevin? He's not going to pull anyone. He's like nerdy chubby. Let her explore. He'll stay loyal." The group chat laughed it off. Even my own wife responded, "Exactly. Kevin isn't going to go anywhere. He's too comfortable, too soft. He needs a wake-up call, honestly." You ever read something that made your heart freeze? That was it for me. My own wife didn't just want to explore other people. She didn't even fear losing me. She was counting on me staying in place like a loyal puppy while she went out getting experience. And that's when my anger turned into motivation. I called up 2 of my best friends, Max and Andre. I told them everything. The open marriage request, the group chat messages, the humiliation. They didn't even hesitate. "Bro," Max said, "this ain't a loss. This is a reset." That same weekend, we went shopping. Clothes that actually fit me. Sneakers that weren't beat to hell. Contacts instead of my old crooked glasses. A haircut that made me look like I actually had a jawline. Andre got me in the gym the very next day, and we made a whole schedule. Diet, exercise, the works. And then we started going out. Every damn night. At first, it felt weird. I'm not a club guy, I'm not even a bar guy, but we made it work. My confidence was shaky, but it started getting better. Within 2 weeks, I had dropped a noticeable amount of weight. My skin cleared up, and I carried myself different. Women noticed, and that's when I met her. Her name's Vanessa. She was sitting alone at a bar, just sipping a drink, checking her phone. I wasn't even going to say anything, but Andre basically pushed me toward her and said, "Shoot your shot." So I did. We hit it off instantly. She had this calm, quiet vibe that I wasn't expecting. Turned out, she had just finalized her divorce a couple months earlier. Her ex-husband cheated on her with his coworker. She wasn't really looking for anything either. She just wanted to be around people who weren't liars, people who didn't make promises they couldn't keep. I told her the truth. I told her I was still technically married but planning to file for divorce after what my wife had asked. Vanessa didn't flinch. She said, "As long as you're honest with me, I'm good." And man, was I honest about everything. We started texting the next day, then talking, then hanging out more. We went from seeing each other once a week to practically living together. It wasn't even about sex. It was about comfort, real connection. We both confessed that we didn't even like going out. She told me she'd rather stay in and play a card game or cook a meal. Then she said the magic words. "You ever play Magic the Gathering?" Bruh, I almost proposed right then and there. We started spending nights at her place, playing cards, eating takeout, watching dumb movies, and Fortnite, don't even get me started. That became our thing. We duo up, trash talk 13-year-olds on voice chat, and laugh until 2 a.m. I hadn't felt that happy in years. Not even at the peak of my marriage. I told Vanessa that I wanted to file as soon as possible. She supported me 100%. Came with me to the lawyer, sat with me while I drafted the documents, never pushed me, never asked for a title, just showed up every single day as a real one. When my wife got served, oh, you better believe she was shocked. She called me crying. "Who is she?" she asked. I told her the truth. I said, "Her name's Vanessa. She's everything you're not." She cried, begged, said she was just confused, that she thought we could find ourselves again, that she didn't actually want to lose me. But I was already gone, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and soon, legally. She said, "Don't replace me," but I already had. Vanessa didn't just replace her, she surpassed her. She restored me. She showed me that there was life after betrayal, that love doesn't have to hurt, that you can start over and still find something genuine. Now, over a year later, Vanessa and I are planning our wedding. Yep, our wedding. The real kind, built on honesty, loyalty, trust. She met my mom, my nephews, even my coworkers. Everyone loves her, and for the first time in my adult life, I feel seen. To the guys watching your channel, I just want to say this. If she ever asks for an open marriage, she already opened herself up to someone else first. And if she thinks you're too nerdy or too chubby to pull someone else, let that fuel you. Don't do it for revenge. Don't do it to win. Do it because you deserve better. Because the right woman won't humiliate you in group chats. She'll join your Fortnite lobby, hand you a deck of magic cards, and make you believe in love again. When I say my wife didn't see it coming, I mean she thought she had me on a leash. Like I was one of those guys who would whine, get angry for a week, and then roll over and accept whatever scraps she threw at me. But when the divorce papers hit her desk at her job, that was her reality check. She called me 17 times that day, left voicemails sobbing, then angry, then begging again. I didn't respond. That night, I went over to Vanessa's and we made spaghetti from scratch and watched old Pokemon episodes. The contrast was insane. On one hand, you had a woman who humiliated me behind my back and treated me like a placeholder. On the other, a woman who laughed at my dumb jokes and genuinely liked me. Not the version of me I was trying to become, not hot Kevin or revenge Kevin, just me. But I'd be lying if I said the transformation didn't change how I saw myself. Before all this, I was stuck in a loop: work, home, maybe game for an hour, rinse and repeat. I didn't take care of myself. I didn't push myself. Part of me had accepted that marriage meant routine, predictability, that once you landed someone, it was okay to coast. And maybe that's my fault too. Maybe I contributed to the stagnation, but the betrayal, that was on her. Let me back up a bit. After I read those texts in her group chat, something in me snapped, not in a dangerous way, but in a very focused way. I'd never been that driven. I treated my body like a startup company that just got Series A funding. Gym 5 times a week, cut out soda, cut down on sugar. I started meal prepping like I was on some fitness influencer channel. I wasn't trying to become someone else. I was trying to become me again. The version of myself I liked. The version I lost somewhere between her honeydew lists and her eye rolls at my hobbies. I remember one day, maybe 3 weeks into my routine, I caught myself smiling in the mirror while shaving. That hadn't happened in years. Back to Vanessa, man, I still remember our second date. We went to a small board game cafe downtown. She beat me 3 times in a row in a card game called Exploding Kittens, and when I fake pouted, she reached across the table, tapped my nose, and said, "You're kind of adorable when you lose." It wasn't even the flirtation. It was the fact that she saw me, like really saw me. She didn't try to mold me or change me. She didn't roll her eyes when I talked about Magic the Gathering. She didn't laugh when I said I'd rather spend a Friday night playing Fortnite and cooking than going to a rooftop bar and pretending to like overpriced cocktails. She just nodded and said, "Same." We weren't pretending. We were just vibing. And it wasn't long before things got real. After I filed for divorce, I moved out and into a short-term lease. Vanessa helped me move boxes. I didn't even ask. She just showed up with coffee and gloves, said, "Let's get you out of that prison." That meant more than she probably realized. Because here's the thing, my marriage hadn't been bad in the obvious ways. No screaming matches, no cheating I could prove, no slamming doors, but it was cold, distant, like roommates who shared a bed and nothing else. It's not always abuse or scandal that ends a marriage. Sometimes it's just emotional starvation. You go years without a real compliment. Without affection, that isn't just transactional. Without someone looking at you like you matter, that'll kill you slowly. But Vanessa, she brought me back to life. I remember the day my ex and I met to talk logistics. She showed up looking, well, like she cared. Full makeup, hair done. That look women get when they're trying to pull you back. She said, "Can we just talk? Without lawyers?" I said, "Sure, but I'm not changing my mind." She said, "Is this about her?" I said, "It's about you," but she reminded me what it's like to feel wanted again. And that's when the tears came. She tried the whole "I made a mistake" routine. Said she thought we'd explore a little and then come back stronger. That she didn't think I'd actually go through with it. I said, "Yeah, because you thought I was weak." She didn't deny it, just cried harder. She said, "I didn't think you'd replace me this fast." That word, replace, sat heavy. Because to me, it wasn't a replacement. It was a reawakening. Vanessa wasn't a rebound. She wasn't a revenge fling. She was the person I should have waited for in the first place. The divorce moved fast. We didn't have a lot of assets to split. No kids, no house. I gave her the furniture because I didn't want any pieces of that life anyway. I even let her keep the cat, even though he liked me better. She made a few snarky comments through the process. Said Vanessa wouldn't last once the honeymoon phase wore off. Said I'd come crawling back. But here I am, writing this from a small, quiet apartment where my fiance is asleep next to me. And our dog, yes, our dog, is snoring at our feet. Crawling back? Never that. Let me tell you a little more about Vanessa. She's kind of a dork. She wears oversized sweaters in the summer, has this laugh that sounds like a hiccup mixed with a wheeze. She loves breakfast food at 10 p.m., collects random plushies and Funko Pops. She gets overly competitive in board games and will 100% accuse you of cheating if she loses. She also gives the best hugs I've ever felt in my life, like the kind that make you exhale a little deeper, the kind that reset your nervous system. We go to local game stores together. We plan camping trips with our little friend group. We've been talking about adopting kids in a few years. She even encouraged me to apply for a better job, something I never thought I could do. I took the leap and got hired as a senior tech analyst at a firm 2 towns over. More money, better hours. She celebrated with me like I'd won the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, my ex, I heard through the grapevine she tried dating the guy she wanted to explore things with. Turns out he wasn't looking for anything serious. She's back on the apps now, probably swiping through dudes who won't tolerate her games. I don't wish her harm, I really don't. But I also don't pity her. Actions have consequences, and some choices can't be undone. That's the part people forget when they start playing with fire. They think the person they burn will stick around and warm them back up when it's over. Nah. Some of us learn to build our own fire, and we find someone who brings their own match. So yeah, that's my story, true story. A nerdy, chubby, magic playing, Fortnite loving IT guy got thrown to the side like he was nothing. And instead of breaking, he built himself back up. My ex opened the marriage. I opened a new chapter. And this one? It's got love, laughter, card games, and late night pancakes. You know what the funniest part is? The woman who once said in a group chat that I was chubby and nerdy and that I'd never get another woman was the same one standing in front of me outside the courthouse, teary-eyed and clutching her purse like a security blanket, saying, "Kevin, can we just go to counseling before you finalize this?" I looked her dead in the eye and said, "I already got the therapy I needed, watching you get replaced." I know, cold, but it was true. And I wasn't saying it to be cruel. I was saying it because she needed to hear it. You don't get to ask for a one-sided open marriage, mock the man you're married to behind his back, and then get upset when he finds someone who actually values him. You don't get to crush someone's self-worth and then panic when they rebuild it without you. But let me tell you about the moment I knew Vanessa was my person. It wasn't during one of our cute dates. It wasn't even during our first kiss or the first time we said, "I love you." Nah, it was one random Tuesday afternoon. I was having a rough day at work, just stressed, burnt out, snapping at my screen. Vanessa walked in, saw the look on my face, didn't say anything. She just put my favorite hoodie over my shoulders, handed me a hot cup of tea, kissed my head, and whispered, "Don't let them steal your joy." Then she sat next to me and just existed, calmly, peacefully, not demanding, not fixing, just present. In that moment, I realized that love isn't always fireworks and grand gestures. Sometimes it's just someone noticing when you're fading and lighting a small candle beside you until you find your spark again. So when I decided to propose, I knew I wanted it to be just like us. Nerdy, heartfelt, low-key. I planned it on our cozy night. Every Friday we make food together, light some candles, and either game or watch old anime. That Friday, I cooked homemade ramen. Even bought those little Naruto fish cakes because she said they were aesthetically satisfying. We sat on the floor, legs crossed, bowls in hand, a Studio Ghibli movie playing in the background. When she finished eating, I pulled out the ring box I'd been hiding in my hoodie pocket. She looked confused at first, then her eyes went wide. She covered her mouth. I said, "Vanessa, you came into my life like a healing spell I didn't even know I needed." You reminded me what joy feels like, what love is supposed to look like, what it's like to be chosen, willingly, fully, without conditions. Will you marry me? She cried. Of course she did. And then she tackled me, literally knocked the ramen off the table and hugged me so hard I almost forgot to put the ring on her finger. And just like that, the guy who got laughed at in a group chat was engaged to the most beautiful, kind hearted, nerdy, loving woman on the planet. We're planning a small wedding, nothing crazy, backyard style, food truck catering with a Magic the Gathering theme for the centerpieces. Our cake topper is literally a 3D print of two planeswalkers. Judge me if you want, we don't care. It's us all the way. Now, I won't lie to you and say that everything's been perfect since. Healing doesn't come in a straight line. I had moments, especially right after the divorce, where I second guessed everything, where I looked in the mirror and still saw the old Kevin, the one who got overlooked, the one who was always too nice or too nerdy or just a friend. But Vanessa kept showing up, and the more she showed up for me, the more I showed up for myself. I started reconnecting with my own identity outside of being a husband, a boyfriend, or anyone's anything. I started writing again, something I used to love. I went on weekend solo hikes to clear my mind. I even reconnected with a few old friends I lost touch with during my marriage. And what surprised me most? Some of those friends told me they never liked my ex. Apparently, they saw what I couldn't. They said she had a way of making me small, making my hobbies seem silly, making my ideas seem like they weren't worth exploring. One friend, Jordan, said, "Bro, you used to light up talking about your projects. After you married her, you dimmed." That one hit hard. Because it was true. She didn't abuse me in the traditional sense, but she shrunk me, subtly, quietly, over time. And Vanessa? She did the opposite. She made me bigger. Not physically, I'm down 43 pounds now, by the way, but spiritually, emotionally. She made room for me to exist loudly, to be nerdy, to be passionate, to be me. If you're still reading, true story. I want to end this email by talking directly to the guys out there who feel like I did a year ago. If she asks for an open marriage, it's not a fun idea. It's not a path to growth. It's her way of testing your loyalty while lining up her next move. Don't fall for the modern relationship bait. Know your worth. Don't let someone convince you that being nice is weakness. Don't let someone mock your body, your interests, or your quiet nature. Don't let someone convince you that you're easy to replace. Because here's the truth. Good men are rare, and women who treat them like background noise usually figure that out, way too late. Let her regret it. You don't need revenge. You don't need to fight for her attention. Just walk. Glow up if you want, but do it for yourself. And when you meet someone who truly sees you, someone who values your presence, your voice, your hobbies, your soul, hold her close. Tell her the truth. Be kind. Be faithful. Because she's the reward, not the revenge. My name's Kevin. I'm 33. I'm a nerd, a card game junkie, a Fortnite duo god, and a man who was once thrown away like yesterday's lunch. But now, I'm someone's forever. Thanks for reading True Story. You've got a real one listening. Kevin.